Hey guys, thanks for joining us today for another Kids Worship, and I am outside and you can see behind me, we are getting ready for a storm coming in. Now what does that have to do with today? Well, you stay tuned and see, because today we're talking about a time where Jesus encountered a storm, and you're going to get to see what happened. Did the storm win? Absolutely not. We're going to see how Jesus took care of the storm and what we can learn from that lesson. Miss Sarah is going to be teaching us today, and I'm super glad that you have joined us for Kids Worship. So here we go. Get your Bibles, get everything together, and we'll get started right about now.
Everybody, it's Miss Sarah. You can't see me right now, but I am taking video of this storm that is going on right now in my backyard. Our Bible lesson today is about when Jesus calmed the storm. And I thought, what better way to talk about it than to show you and let you hear what a real storm sounds like. And the Lord provided that for us today, even in my own backyard. You hear the rain, you hear the thunder, see the rain coming out of my gutter. So in just a minute, we're going to get started.
Hi friends! Today we're going to get up close, like really close, to some amazing sea creatures. I'll show you a close-up image of an animal that lives in the sea. As soon as you think you know what it is, shout out your answer. Are you ready? Let's go! What do you think this first image is? Time's up. What is it? If you said starfish, you're right. Now I wonder where SpongeBob's at. Here's the next one. What do you think this might be? Time's up. What is it? If you said pufferfish, you're right. Now don't go getting all puffed up. I wonder what this could be. Time's up. What is it? If you said jellyfish, you're right. Now if we could only find a peanut butter fish. Now what do you think this might be? Time's up. What is it? If you said sea turtle, you're right. Give me a high fin. Study this next one carefully. Shout it out if you know it. Time's up. What is it? If you said whale, you're right. Great job. That was a huge accomplishment. What do you think we're looking at here? Time's up. What is it? If you said shark, then everybody out of the water. Oh, and you're correct. Great job. I wonder what this could be. Time's up. What is it? If you said clownfish, you're right. I'm not even joking. You got it right. What do you think we're looking at here? Time's up. What is it? If you said seahorse, you're correct. Do you think seahorses can enter the Kentucky Derby? All right, this is our last one. Can you figure out what this is? Time's up. What is it? If you said stingray, you're right. Great job. It would have really stung to miss that last one. Well done. God sure did make some pretty amazing sea creatures, didn't he?
Jesus spent all day teaching crowds of people near the Sea of Galilee. That evening, Jesus wanted to cross over to the other side of the sea. So Jesus and his disciples left the crowds. They got into a boat and began sailing. Some of the people from the crowds followed in their own boats. While Jesus and his disciples traveled, Jesus fell asleep on a cushion at the back of the boat. All of a sudden, a storm came. The wind was strong and the waves crashed into the boat. Water was coming into the boat and the disciples were afraid. Many of the disciples were fishermen. They had survived storms on the sea before, but this storm was different. It was so strong. If the water kept coming in the boat would sink. Surely they would all drown. The disciples looked to Jesus for help, but Jesus was still fast asleep at the back of the boat. He didn't seem to even notice the storm. Did Jesus care if they were about to sink into the sea? The disciples woke up Jesus. "Lord, save us," they said. "We are going to die." Jesus opened his eyes and saw that his friends were afraid. He got up and spoke to the wind. Then Jesus said to the sea, "Silence! Be still." At the sound of Jesus' voice, the wind stopped blowing and the waves stopped crashing. Everything was calm. The disciples were safe. Jesus looked at his disciples and asked, "Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith?" Did the disciples not trust Jesus to take care of them? The disciples were amazed. "Who is this man?" they asked each other. "Even the wind and the waves obey him." Jesus' disciples knew Jesus was a good man and a good teacher. But when Jesus calmed the wind and the waves, he showed his disciples that he is also God. God rules the sea and stills its waves.
Hey guys, now you can actually see me. I'm still in my backyard, but the storm is starting to pass over. There's a little bit of rain and still some thunder and lightning. But I thought it was very cool that God brought a storm the very day that we are talking about our Bible lesson when Jesus calmed the storm. I don't know about you guys, but I like the sound of rain. It's very calming. What bothers me is the thunder and the lightning. I don't know if that scares you or not, but that scares me sometimes. When I'm asleep at night and there's a storm, and I'm even in my house, I wake up a lot of times. I could not imagine being able to fall asleep in the middle of a really big storm. But you know what? In today's story, that's what Jesus did. And I'm going to tell you all about it. We are going to be in Matthew chapter 8. It also takes place in Mark 4 and in Luke 8. So in this lesson, Jesus and his disciples spent all day teaching crowds of people near the Sea of Galilee. And that evening they were tired. Jesus wanted to cross over to the other side of the sea. So he and his disciples got into a boat, and his disciples were mostly, or a lot of them, were experienced fishermen. So you would think they'd be used to being, or they were used to being on the boat and experiencing storms. But as they were on the boat, Jesus fell asleep in the back of the boat, and all of a sudden, a big storm came. The wind was really strong, and the waves were crashing into the boat. Water was coming into the boat, and the disciples, they were so afraid. Many of them, even though they had survived on the sea before, this storm was different. It was so strong, and so they were so nervous that they were going to drown and die. The disciples looked at Jesus for help, but he was fast asleep in the back of the boat. He didn't seem to even notice the storm. Didn't Jesus care about them sinking into the sea? The disciples woke Jesus up. They said, "Lord, save us, we're going to die." And Jesus opened his eyes and saw that his friends, his disciples, were afraid. He got up and he spoke to the wind. Jesus said, "Silence, be still." And at the sound of Jesus' voice, he didn't have to do anything but speak. The wind stopped blowing and the waves stopped crashing. Everything was calm and peaceful. Jesus took care of them. Jesus looked at his disciples and asked, "Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith?" Did the disciples not trust Jesus to take care of them? That question seems interesting because the disciples had been with Jesus for his whole ministry. But we have to remember that when Jesus came on earth, people were looking for a Messiah. They were looking for someone to save them. But they didn't know exactly who Jesus was. So he was having to teach them over and over again that he was God and that he was the Messiah. And so when he asked them, "Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith?" he was still trying to teach them, you can trust me. I am Jesus, the Son of God. I am God, and I am in control. The disciples, when he asked that question, were amazed. They were saying, who is this man? They asked each other. Even the wind and the waves obey him. They did not understand that he had been there at creation, that all of creation obeys his command. And so, as they were learning during his ministry that Jesus was God, he was teaching them over and over again who he was. Jesus' disciples knew that he was a good man and a good teacher, but when he calmed the wind and the waves, he showed his disciples that he was also God. God rules the seas and stills its waves. That's from Psalm 89:9. So today in our story, it was very cool to see how Jesus showed his disciples over and over again that he was God. Jesus calmed the storms to show them that. And he performed other miracles to glorify God and to show that he was the Son of God and to care for people. We can trust in him. Thank you guys for joining us for our Bible lesson today. I hope you enjoyed it. That's our dog. That's who made lots of noises while I was doing the lesson. That's Sadie.
Everywhere that I go, you're there with me. Even in the night when I cannot see, I know you're by my side and I will be just fine. Oh God, you're always good to me. I want to say thank you. I will live my life to praise you, and lift you high. Every night and day I'll follow in your ways. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you, God. Every breath that I take, you give to me. Every brand new day is a blessing. I know you're by my side and I will be just fine. Oh God, you're always good to me. I want to say thank you. I will live my life to praise you, and lift you high. Every night and day I'll follow in your ways. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you, God. I want to say thank you for mercy and kindness, for grace that is endless, love and forgiveness. I want to say thank you for mercy and kindness, for grace that is endless, love and forgiveness. I want to say thank you. I will live my life to praise you, and lift you high. Every night and day I'll follow in your ways. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you, God. I want to say thank you, God. I want to say thank you, God.
Hi there, I'm Pastor Brian, and it's time for Questions from Kids. Charlie from Albany, Georgia asks,
Why do we have bad days?
Oh, Charlie, we all have bad days. That is the reality of life. This is a great question that I think is really going to be helpful for a lot of people. So the short answer is this: we have bad days because we live in a fallen world. God's design was for there to be no bad days. If you think back in creation, Genesis 1 and 2, there were no bad days that were orchestrated for Adam and Eve. If you think about what awaits us in eternity, Revelation 21 and 22, there are no bad days there either. It's all in between. Because of sin that we have bad days. And it's this way. So sometimes I have a bad day because I'm just not walking with Christ and I'm sinning. And that's gonna be a problem, right? And I'm gonna have a hard, difficult, bad day because of my own sin. There are other days that I might be having a bad day because of the sin of others. Maybe somebody's wronged me, and that's hard, hurt my heart. And so it's hard to have those kind of days. Other days, it's just the situation in life. I'm gonna be sitting in a lot of traffic. That's a bad day. It's not because of maybe sin directly, it's just the reality of life. And so all these things can happen and give us hard, difficult days. But here is what we have to remember, that these days are temporary. God has given us this great gift called sleep, hasn't he? Think about it. You have a really hard day, and then you're able to go to bed at night, and it may be hard to fall asleep because those things are still replaying, but eventually you drift off to sleep. And what happens? You wake up the next day, and it's a new day. It's a gift from God. It's a fresh start. You can put that bad day to end. You can put it to bed. You wake up then, and you have a brand new day and say, today's gonna be different. And God can bless you, and you can have the greatest day ever right after having that bad day. So we remember that it's temporary, but also remember that even if that bad day feels long, even if you wake up the next day and you have another bad day, here's the reality, here's the beautiful truth. God is with you. He's right there with you. You can turn to him, you can sigh to God and say, this is hard. And you know that God knows this because Jesus experienced bad days as well in his ministry on earth. So we have a God who loves us, we have a God who cares, a God who knows that we can go to for encouragement. We also have one another. When you're having a bad day, God has given us this gift in one another that you can go to parents or a friend or a teacher and just share and be encouraged by one another and be encouraged to hang in there, to get through it as God is with you. We have one another to love us through it as well. So here's a question for you. How can you encourage someone who is having a bad day?
Well, the storm is about past, and you know what? Our lesson is about past. Miss Sarah's done a fantastic job of teaching us today about how Jesus calmed the storm. And I pray that you have learned today that you can put your faith and trust in Jesus. Because you know what? We may encounter storms like this. We also may encounter other things that we call storms in our lives when things don't go the way we had planned. So I pray that today you'll take home a better faith and trust in Jesus. Thanks for joining us for Kids Worship today, and we'll see you again next week.